Hey, welcome. Okay, I'm in the state of Indiana, United States of America, and I'm getting my knees done, and I got some heart problems, whatever. But sometime or another, I'm going to have my knees replaced, and then I'm going to go to Israel. Okay, so what am I going to do in Israel? I started a checklist of things to check on and things that I want to investigate and report on. The value of me going there is that I don't owe anybody favors. There's nobody sponsoring me other than my Patreon members and my GoFundMe, but they're not like like advertising or anything like that. Okay, so why go to Israel? So I made a list of this, and the reason why I want to go to Israel is because to me, this is the makings of World War III. Okay, to me, I'm going to go through the list today, and I'll probably be doing this 2 or 3 times before I go there. But I would like feedback. I'm looking for feedback from different people on ideas on what we need to learn, what information you want to learn about that the newspapers and the media, the television and CNN and BBC and all these, Guardian, all these Fox News, anybody, what they're not telling us, okay? And what they do, and I spent about a month in Iraq, and what I have learned by being in Iraq for a month, and I was actually in a war in Ivory Coast, is the media comes in and they find the worst possible things, and then they try to make it into a calamity or a catastrophe, and they misreport. Okay, because they actually earn money because the worst they can make it, or like they can make Israel culpable for doing something or the whatever. What they're trying to do is it's almost always the big guy against the little guy. So often the news is not working for the United States of America or Europe or anybody like that. They're working for the enemy. And Hamas obviously is a terrorist group. Okay, but what is happening right now is the start of World War III. And why is it the start of World War III? Well, Israel's got nuclear bombs, and Iran and all these other countries, there's about 400 million people that want to kill 7 million people in a fanatical way. Now, when I was in Iraq, there was things that happened. There was just rumors of Israeli people inside Iraq at the time, and they would take rocket-propelled grenades and kill their own people. I mean, it's so tribal. This is a tribal mentality. It is not a first world mentality. It don't matter how much money they have. You can't take somebody that was, walking behind goats and turn them into somebody that's highly, how would you call it? It takes like probably 5 generations to get rid of the tribal mentality. Okay, and that's a very superstitious mentality. And when I was in Iraq, the Turkomans hated the Assyrians. The Assyrians, the first thing they did when I went up and met somebody in Iraq, they would actually, this is how tribal they were. They would cross their finger and they'd point at me. And that was a cross. They wanted to know what religion I was before they wanted to know my name. But this is so almost, it's like kind of like a religious war, right? And the religious zealots are on both sides. I mean, the Israelis are just as bad as the thing. There's a kind of it's like a clan war, right? This is a feud. Okay, but with 7 million people surrounded by 400 million people that want them dead, it's obviously a high mismatch as far as bodies. So they could run bodies across here, and no matter what they do, they would never end. But Israel has nukes. But I'm not positive which countries in the Middle East have nukes, if any. I don't, but there's always the possibility that Russia would supply nukes. They were helping the Syrians, as I understand. Okay, so one of the things, so I'm just going to go down the list as I've collected them. One of my friends, David, wants me to find out about olive oil and olive trees and do an exploration of olives. I probably should put under there, I don't think they're doing the Arabic rugs, and when I was, but there's a lot of rug manufacturers through that region of the world. But how does a war work? I want to study that. How does a war work? To me, I've been in 2 or 3 different war areas, Iraq and Ivory Coast when they broke out in war. And to me, it's just really like a large riot that gets out of control. Okay, and the bad part here is the size of the weapons, whether it's in Ukraine or whatever. So the U.S. military, don't think that the U.S. military just gives weapons, gives things to, they don't just give $100 billion to Ukraine without them turning around and buying $100 billion worth of military supply. So the military industrial complex or whatever, the combination of the press, the military, the politician, and everybody's making money on this thing, okay? So war is a very profitable thing. Rhett Butler said this in the book or movie, Gone with the Wind. There's a lot of money to be made in the destruction of a culture. There's a lot of money to be made in the thing, because nobody's got their eye on the money, right? Everybody's robbing everybody. Okay, James Michener, when he wrote the book The Tell, it's a really great book on Israel. On Israel, The Tell is a mound of dirt. When you have, I seen one in Iraq in Mosul, yeah, Mosul, and what happens is they build up a kind of a clay building thing, and it falls down, and then they build on top of it, and eventually it becomes a mountain. This is called a tell, and James Michener has a really good book about the Israel. You really should read it if you really care about Israel. But how does a war work? I'm going to be explaining that. Can we, and the big thing it's ridiculous to me is, can we actually send in, bombs from airplanes and stuff, jets and cannons without killing the people? No, it's to me, this is just the most ridiculous thing they do. They're targeting, my nephew was acting like they were indiscriminately dropping off $1 million bomb. They don't do that, right? That's just stupid. You have very targeted bombing. You're trying to do it. Yes, they make mistakes. It's like anything else. But my opinion is, if you don't want to get bombed, go hide hide. But I think the Hamas is hiding behind all the thing. But I think if I can, I'm going to go into Gaza. Okay, and it's highly possible that I could jump in the back with the military. Anybody that's connected at all with the Israel military, please contact me and help me to try to figure out how to do this. I don't know what, I'm going to have to jump through a lot of hoops. I had to get a press pass when I went to Iraq, and but anybody can have a press pass. You just print it up. It's kind of a ridiculous thing. I would like to know whether you got Hamas and then you got the Palestinian people. Are they working together as a military force? I think they're actually, there's no difference to me between the Hamas and a man that's in the Palestine. It's a fighting age. He's in the war. Okay, I don't believe that you have a true separation between Hamas. This is just, to me, highly dysfunctional thinking. Are the people, the one question, are the Israeli military bombing Gaza without care? Are the Palestinian people bombing without care? Same thing, both sides of the issue, right? NGOs in Gaza, are they doing good or bad? Or are they just living in the posh hotels and basically collecting money, as they often do? Often they send out their surrogate people, their sycophants or whatever these people are, to go do this stuff, and they don't actually even leave. The actual leaders of these hire these translators and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a make it look good show. But I want to go to the American embassy in Jerusalem. Donald Trump, when he was in office, moved he kind of, in a way, said that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel instead of Tel Aviv. I don't think he really is, but I mean, symbolically it is. So I want to go to that, the American embassy, because that's a very big power move. To move that embassy is to say we are all in to protect Israel. And the world, when you talk to Israelis and you talk to people that are geopolitically aware of what's going on in the world, they often call Israel the 51st state. And I actually believe we should make it the 51st state. That way these guys would slow down this possibility of a nuclear war, because then they would not just be attacking it. So like in NATO, if you attack one, you attack all. And what we have is a bunch of politicians that are just about the money, not really about protecting. Right now, Kamala Harris is not backing up Israel. I mean, I can't say his name, but the leader of Israel came and she didn't even go watch him. This is an atrocity because she wants the granola for lunch bumps, the wackos to be supported, all these anti-Israeli terrorists. Terrorists. I'm calling them terrorists. That's my mind working. These protesters, to me, they're terrorists. I mean, when you want to support people that just randomly killed people, you're a terrorist. But he did that in 2017, December 6th. Donald Trump did something spectacular. Hopefully, I'm leaving the country around the beginning of October, maybe January, October, November, September, October, November. Okay, but I actually considered going to Ukraine then, but it's going to be going to be very cold in Ukraine at the time. I would go in from Poland, go to Lviv, and then work my way to Kiev. Okay, I've been to Ukraine 3 times. Jerusalem. Okay, number 9 is Jerusalem is important to 3 different religions. You have the Western Wall and the Second Temple, but it's important to Christianity, the Holy, whatever, and then Islam and okay, so you have Islam, Jewish, and Christianity. So very important, and anybody that understands religions, the act of faith makes it into like a duty of God as opposed to a rational decision. So a duty of God is a thing. What is that book? Thomas, I'll think of it eventually. But we got to really study the religions to understand what this war is about. I want to know how many bombs are idly getting through these different forces. They got these missiles that are that are intercepting a lot of the missiles being sent in from both Lebanon, and now you got Yemen, and then you got, of course, Gaza, and probably coming from the West Bank. So how many bombs are hitting Israel? When I was over there, one of my friends, Elon or whatever, went to a pizza place. He showed me 3 or 4 pizza places where they actually walked in there with a suicide bomb vest and blew themselves up. How would you like that in the United States? How angry would you be? Come on. This is a war is an anger, okay? It's a rage. And if you're idly just never safe, it causes a long-term traumatic thing. And this is what Israel's been going with for 60 years. Can a journalist enter Gaza or the West Bank? Can they enter? Can I actually enter Israel? I got to keep doing research. Okay, those are my topics. Anybody want to do it? I'm hoboontheroad at yahoo.com. Hoboontheroad at yahoo.com. Hoboontheroad at yahoo.com is my email. And I'm 260-624-4414. I'll put this on the screen. I dream of a world free of white lies. I'm really worried about the 25 overdeveloped countries, in my opinion. They are so permeated with lies right now. What they're doing is they're a rich, it's like a rich third world nations, okay? They are just, they have so insulated, they don't even understand the least little thing. They don't understand how the world works. We don't have business guys going over there and actually do it. Maybe Caterpillar, that's about it. Very few of these companies are actually spreading their businesses, because in the past, what would happen is the business would go over. So like, East Indies companies and all these ships and the British, they were the ones that were carrying the information back to the king. Right now, our business are not intertwined, and really the companies that are really doing a lot of business are so multinational, they don't even care about the country, they just care about their money. So to expect any corporation like right now to have any kind of morals, one thing I've realized over and over is that the everything you report in the news is becoming a higher and higher catastrophe situation. Everything's a catastrophe. Michael Crichton wrote a book about this, where state of fear. Okay, and it's really, in my opinion, we have to go to independent journalists like what I'm doing that are free of any influence. Now, the minute that you see advertising where they got this sponsor, whatever, it's over with. The honesty goes away, and people will say about anything for money. I trust very few people. I don't know anybody that seems to be above the idea that they have to have more money all the time. Okay, but I believe in a world where we stop. You got to give consequences for lies. I mean, rational people have consequences. There is no consequences for the journalist. There is no consequences for Fox News, BBC, NBC, any of these news stations. They can say any lie they want. And people think that there's some journalistic quality to these people. These guys are, when are they lying? When their mouth is moving. Okay. I'm Andy Lee Graham. Become a Patreon if you want to actually communicate with me. I have a GoFundMe page. All these links are in my descriptions on my channel. Under any video, you should be able to find these links. The Patreon thing, the benefit of that is that you get to communicate with me on a higher level. The $5 one, basically, you get to email, and the $25 means that you can call me and talk to me. $100 means that I'll eventually come and visit you after a while. Because I probably will put a $500 one. Anybody that's friends with with Jewish people, I'm a Christian, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Man, I haven't heard that since I dated Dory, and I won't say her last name, in Indiana University. She always called me a wasp or shiksa. No, it wasn't shiksa. She calls goyim, goyim. I forget all these words. This is like 40 years ago when I was in Indiana University. But I'm here, and yeah, I've dated a lot of Jewish people in America. I really love this culture because it's got force. And I think that anybody that has force, that can look in the eye, is the type of people that we need to be the best example for the planet. I'm going to be losing about 35 pounds here, try to get real cut, because I got a heart problem. I don't know what. Maybe I had a heart attack. It seems, they said infarction. Really soon, here in the next 7 days, I'm going to learn exactly the situation of my heart. But it was like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I think this happened. I have an idea when it happened, but it's almost gone. The pain of that is all gone, and I'm really kind of strong. I just kept moving. I didn't stop. But I want to go to Israel. I would love to have enough money to go to Ukraine and make it a double dipper. Ukraine is one of my favorite countries on the planet because they're so intelligent. The bad part is, there's hardly a difference between a Russian and a Ukrainian. They were part of the Russia, right? It's kind of silly in a way what's happening right now, but it's all a war of Ukraine. In my opinion, the Ukraine leader is highly corrupt. And I do believe that Donald Trump could shut off this war in less than a week. He would just say, this, we're cutting you off, we're doing this. And he'd talk to Putin in person and say, hey, let's cut the deal. Because Putin's already offered. If you really want to follow what's going on from the Russian side, RT News and Sputnik are good things you can follow to actually get the empathize with both sides of it. And truly, if you really want to be a geopolitical and understand the world, experience is more important than anything in the news. Experience is always false because they want to make money with it. But if you want to really get a thing, the way I do it, I'll read like 20 different websites, and then the main points will gleam their way through, okay? When I was in the United States for working, I read 5 newspapers a day, Wall Street Journal, and Investors Daily, the local newspapers, the morning and night. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, I would read the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times. And after you read the same article written by 4 or 5 different journalists, you actually can glean out of that the actual truth. At least the main facts, because anymore it's so opinionated, it ought to be called the National Enquirer world. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. Become a Patreon. I do realize that I it's kind of tenuous right now because I'm told that I had a heart attack and that they canceled my first double knee replacement. But I all my feeling is that here in the next 3 weeks they're going to put it back on the docket. They just got to get all their ducks in a row, and I got to be able to sign off that it's okay. I'm hoping they do both legs. By the way, I'm going to start camping again off the grid this time. And some of you'd like to know that. I'm trying to figure out how I can charge up all my electronics and phones and all the computers. I have two computers while being inside like a nomad digital place like McDonald's. Plug in, charge up, work for 2 hours at 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, guys. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Become my friends. I really want more friends. I want friends internationally. And if you're $100 donator on the Patreon, after a while, when enough money comes in to pay for the airfare, I will stop in and stay for like a week or something, and we can just talk. Incredibly valuable for anybody that has any desire to retire abroad. I'm here and you're not. Why not?